And spoiler alert, we have a Frida McFadden sandwich situation.
The fall is coming, I can feel it. The breeze brings goosebumps to my skin. Tonight the whiskey feels stronger. Gasoline on hidden desires. So I'll throw another log on the fire. Let it burn. Let it burn.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in September. September was a good reading month for me. I finished 8 books and I'd recommend more than I wouldn't. Of course, we all know that tastes and moods vary. So if I didn't love your favorite book, I promise no offense is meant. I'll start with the ones that didn't quite work for me and we'll move up from there. First will be the books in my red category. This means if you're short on time, don't worry, you're not missing out. Then we'll move into the yellow category, meaning if you've got some extra time, you might see something in these books that I didn't. And finally, the green category, which of course means go check these books out as soon as you can. So let's get into it. The first book in the red category is Such a Bad Influence by Olivia Mentor. This book dives into the dark side of internet fame through the story of 2 sisters, Hazel and Evie. A decade separates them, as do their circumstances, because when Evie was only 5 years old, her mother posts a video of her that goes viral. This launches Evie to fame, while Hazel, being old enough to have a voice, is able to avoid the spotlight. When Evie goes missing during a live stream when she's just 18 years old, Hazel rushes home to help find her. As she confronts her past and her mother's exploitation of Evie, we watch Hazel unravel, both her appearance and her mental state deteriorating. I really wanted to like this one because it had such a strong start and an interesting premise. Also, I did like the writing. Unfortunately, I just didn't care, and what I think was supposed to be suspense just fell completely flat for me. My library hold actually expired when I had about an hour left of the audiobook, and I was so close to just saying, oh well. I did end up getting it back just a couple days later, even though it was supposed to have a 5-week wait, so I'm not sure what that says. And I'll just add that the ending didn't redeem this book for me, so there's that. The second and last book in the red category is The Coworker by Frida McFadden. In this book, we follow Natalie, a successful sales rep for a supplement company. She's one of those women who seems to have it all, which is a stark contrast to her cubicle neighbor, Dawn, the company's relatively new accountant. When Natalie shows up to work one day, late as usual, and notices Dawn is missing, she immediately senses something is off, and she's right. Acting as a concerned friend, Natalie goes above and beyond to get herself involved in the case. Meanwhile, we also get glimpses of Dawn's past correspondence with a friend, which slowly reveals a very different picture of these 2 women. This started off entertaining enough, but the plot quickly veered into implausible territory, and its biggest flaw was how predictable it became. Okay, that's it for red. Now on to yellow. It does physically pain me to put this first one on here, and that is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Set in the 80s, healthcare aide, Kit, is on shaky ground with her company, so she's forced to take a job no one else wants, and that is to fill in for the missing caregiver at a sinister cliffside estate. Her new charge, Lenora Hope, a woman in her 70s, accused of murdering her entire family when she was a teen. Lenora is now immobile and is unable to speak, but she can move one hand just enough to type her story. Or can she? And to make matters worse, the whole house is unstable, slowly sliding closer and closer to the water below, which only adds to the unsettling feeling that Kit has of the house. I wish I could say that that translated into my feeling unsettled as well, but it didn't. As I mentioned in my fall recommendations video, Riley Sager is an auto read author for me and will continue to be so, but this wasn't a new favorite. The pacing felt slow for most of the book, and the deluge of reveals at the end bordered on absurd. The second and last book in the yellow category is Just Last Night by Vari McFarlane. This book follows four 30-somethings who've been friends since childhood, and we quickly learn about the missed chance romance between two of them, Ed and Eve. But just as we're about to dive deeper, something shocking happens that derails their lives and opens a can of worms. There was a moment while reading this book that I thought, I've been reading this forever, and it's just been pain. Literally just pain. I even took a screenshot. I believe it was at about 53%, and it didn't pick up much from there. I believe this book is marketed as a romance, and the cover looks very rom-com, but honestly, that feels misleading. This is a contemporary women's fiction that deals with loss, betrayal, and grief, with a tiny sprinkle of romance, mostly at the end. That said, I usually love an emotional story, and even though I didn't connect with this one, I will read more from this author. Okay, so on to the green category, and spoiler alert, we have a Frida McFadden sandwich situation. The first book in the green category, Never Lie, by who else? In this book, we follow newlyweds Trisha and Ethan as they search for their dream home. Scheduled to meet their realtor at an estate tucked away in a remote location, things take a turn when a snowstorm intensifies into a full-blown blizzard. With the realtor nowhere to be found, they're now stranded. They manage to get inside for shelter, but Trisha is convinced they aren't alone in the huge house. Oh, and did I mention the former owner is a psychiatrist presumed murdered 4 years ago? Anyway, while Trisha is exploring the house, she stumbles across recordings of the doctor's sessions, and she simply can't resist pressing play. This was another suspenseful page-turner that I can recommend. Second book in the green category is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. In this book, we follow Florence, a ghostwriter for a hugely popular romance author. This becomes an issue when Florence suffers from severe writer's block after a terrible breakup. Then she suffers another blow when her father passes away. She heads back home to her family's funeral parlor, where we learn that Florence has been able to see and interact with ghosts since childhood. That's when she gets a very unexpected visit from the other side. This was my second book by Ashley Poston, the first being The 7-Year Slip, which I mentioned in my Fall Recs video. Maybe it was because I saw the twist coming from a mile away, but I didn't enjoy this one quite as much. Still, great writing in this one, and it was definitely atmospheric. Next book in the green category is Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. Here we follow Jessica, Nora, and Alicia, 3 women who grew up in foster care together under the watchful eye of Miss Fairchild. When a body is uncovered at the estate where they were raised, they're called back to their hometown, which subsequently brings their brutal past back into focus. As the story unfolds, we get a glimpse into the trauma they endured at the hands of the woman everyone around them told them they were lucky to have, and the issues they now have as adults as a result. And we also learn more about Miss Fairchild's past through snippets of therapy sessions. To me, this read more like a mystery than a suspense or thriller. What I enjoyed most about it was how it explored the sisterly bond they forged as children, which did offset the upsetting content. And the last book in this green category is The Teacher by Frida McFadden. Married couple Eve and Nate both teach at the local high school. While Nate is the fun, popular teacher everyone loves, Eve is essentially the opposite. And recently, a colleague that she considered a mentor was fired because of a scandal involving a student named Addie. So when Nate takes Addie under his wing, Eve has every reason to be concerned. This was a hit for me. Although without giving anything away, the epilogue was ick. If you know, you know. And those were my September reads. I hope this wrap up helps you decide which of these might be your next favorite. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.